So now we get to Beverly Hills Cop III, which is part of this Blu-ray set that was sent a long time ago. And I think this movie's a piece of shit. Now, I know there are fans of this film. I know there are people who even like it more than the second film. To each their own. We agree to disagree. I mean, it's like people who hate RoboCop 2 but love RoboCop 3. I don't get it. I don't agree. But, hey. Or people who love Ninja Turtles 3 and think it's better than Ninja Turtles 2 Secret of the Ooze. I'm like, Ninja Turtles 3, they look like, the turtles look like they're a leper colony. They got moles over and they look like they're rotting from the inside out. Splinter looks like he got dipped into a vat at the KFC where Steven Seagal's at. But hey, people like Ninja Turtles 3 more, I don't get it, but teach their own. If people like RoboCop 3 more, teach their own. If people like Beverly Hills Cop 3 more, teach their own. I don't get it. I disagree. But hey, every movie has a fan. I've had many of picks that people find weird. You know, that makes people different. That's not a bullshit answer. So if you're a fan of Beverly Hills Cop 3, it's cool. Just don't take anything I say against the film personally. With that said, I think Beverly Hills Cop 3 is a shitty sequel. I think you could have had a good trilogy and they fucked up with a poor third film. I think they went with the wrong plot. A lot of people were missing from the first two that were sadly missed. And Beverly Hills Cop 3, Eddie Murphy gives a joyless performance. He gives a Axel Foley in name only. Doesn't seem like Axel Foley because he wanted to play it straight. John Landis would say in interviews, well, he didn't want to be funny because Axel grew up. That's what Eddie Murphy told him. So he didn't want to be a wisecracker. And I find it funny that in Metro, which I think is the unofficial Beverly Hills Cop 3, you have the edge, you have the attitude, you have the rawness, and you have the life and the performance. He's more Axel Foley in this film than Beverly Hills Cop 3. And that's sad. But to me, that's how I see it. You have lame villains. You have a very, very terrible soundtrack. You have a piss poor score. You don't hear... Harold Faltermeyer, who did the first two, he doesn't come back. You have this guy named... Nile Rodgers. Terrible job on the score. Bad job on his version of the Axel F theme. Bad, terrible job. Eddie Murphy's character is not a good cop in this film. He's hot-headed. He doesn't think with his brain. He doesn't use his wits. Usually he would talk himself in and out of situations using his brain, using his wits. He doesn't do that in this movie. There's a sequence at a police ball. There's the bad guy. Eddie Murphy's talking. The bad guy says one thing. He gets pissed and is fighting, gets himself put in jail. Now picture that scene in Beverly Hills Cop 2 at the Playboy Mansion. He kills cops for a living. Hugh Hefner. Hugh, I love you, Hugh Hefner. This guy though, because that's who Axel Foley was. They go, well, he was on a personal vendetta. So he was that way in the first film. Also in the second film, Ronnie Cox. But in the first film, that was his buddy that got killed at the beginning that he knew for quite a while. But here, he just... You hear stories from John Landis and Bronson Pinchot, who's in this film, who was in the first film. Bronson Pinchot would say he had low energy, he just seemed sad. Maybe at this time it was because this is a guy who didn't know failure. Think about it. SNL, huge hit, boom. Then 48 Hours, first film, huge hit, boom. Then the films he starred in, Trading Places, Beverly Hills Cop, hit, hit, hit. Yeah, Best Defense, but he wasn't the star of that. He was like a little supporting role. He had comedy stand-ups like Delirious and Raw, huge hits. He didn't know failure. And then Harlem Nights, which he wrote, he starred in, he directed, big failure. His first big failure, which probably would, not probably, took a number on him. And then, oh shit, I gotta do a sequel to 48 Hours. And then I liked that film. It made money, but the studio found it to be a disappointment considering the money they put into it. I think they were expecting $150 million like Beverly Hills Cop type hit, and it didn't. It cost more than the Golden Child, but it made just as much. Golden Child cost like at least half of another 48 Hours. That 48 Hours, I thought it cost like 50 million. I could be wrong on that. Those are numbers. I could be wrong on that. But with that said, critics didn't like it. It was deemed a disappointment. So Eddie Murphy's feeling the heat, so to speak. The Distinguished Gentleman, which I like, that didn't do well. Boomerang did okay, but he was having a lot of films that didn't do well. So then you're like, okay, he's depressed, he's sad, he wants to do a different direction of Axel Foley. This is not the right direction. Sorry, it was not the right direction. I know Beverly Hills Cop 3, they had all these ideas with him going to London. Either to rescue Ronnie Cox from terrorists, because there's this police thing in London, and Eddie Murphy and Judge Reinhold and John Ashton had to go and save Ronnie Cox. Or he would have to team up with a Scotland Yard guy played by Sean Connery. I don't know why they were so fixated on Eddie Murphy going to London. But I think it was Eddie Murphy, he didn't want to leave the US. He didn't want to go overseas. And then I know there was one idea where Paul Reiser's character was bringing a criminal back and he got killed, so Eddie Murphy had to go after that. But the producers at the time, who did the first two, Don Simpson, Jerry Bruckheimer, they went, oh, that's a bit too much like Black Rain, so we don't want to do that. Now, I don't know if it was this one or part two, but there was even an idea of Axel Foley teaming up with Crocodile Dundee, because those were two big Paramount. People forget, Crocodile Dundee 2 made over $100 million. Crocodile Dundee 2. And I like the film. I like both those films. I reviewed those. 1 and 2. I don't mind the third one. I reviewed that. But the first two, people forget, like, Crocodile Dundee 2 was an over $100 million hit. Think about that. And it deserved it. I think it's a good movie. And you know what? As silly as that sounds, I would have preferred Eddie Murphy giving Paul Hogan Crocodile Dundee shit over what we got here. That's a big knife. Big knife. Get the fuck out of here with that knife. So you get that away. I'll stick you up your ass, man. Come on. With the alligators and shit. I would love to see that compared to this. I really would. Axel Foley and Crocodile Dundee, I would see that more than this bullshit. Be like, why? This movie starts off with bad guys in a chop shop listening to a Diana Ross and the Supreme song, and bad guys literally going to the camera and dancing and singing. Na 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 na. Ooh, ooh. That's how a Beverly Hills Cop movie fucking starts. Think about how the first two started. Shake down, break down, you're busted. Or the way the first film started. Great music, cigarette deal. Here, literally a chop shop full of bad guys fucking dancing in front of the camera to a Diana Ross song. Eddie Murphy's boss getting killed. You didn't need that. You really didn't. I mean, his buddy was killed in the first one, then Ronnie Cox was shot in the second one. Can you come up with a different reason for why he goes to Beverly Hills? Can you come up with any other more creative reason? Someone personal got killed, so like the first one. And yeah, I like that boss character, Eddie Murphy's captain. You didn't need to kill him off, and it's a very lame fashion too. Then you get a car chase, which remind me of RoboCop 3, because they both are part 3 movies with car chases where the hero's in a car that's getting shot at and falling apart. I guess I could say I like this more than RoboCop 3, because RoboCop 3, a bored, joyless Eddie Murphy is still better than Robert John Burke. And the stupid shit in this is still better than making Ed 209 loyal as a puppy. And you know what's funny? I always forget that this is rated R. Because it's so lame and tame that it doesn't feel it. It doesn't have the edge, doesn't have the attitude of the first two. Again, the songs they use suck. The music by this new composer, at least knew that he didn't do the first two. Harold Faltermeyer was really missed. Don Simpson, Jared Bruckheimer, they did not produce it because they didn't like the direction it was going, so they left. Don Simpson was a guy who was a crazy, hard-ass motherfucker. He's the type of guy who didn't want titty shit. They were missed. John Ashton, who was in the first two. I think something about schedule conflict. He's not in there. So that character just retired. Ronnie Cox isn't in the film. He just disappeared. Instead, he did Hector Elizondo in place of John Ashton. Why? They just went, we need another guy with a beard, mustache, and bald with some hair in the back. Like, you don't need that character. If you're not going to have John Ashton, just don't have that character at all. Just have it all done by Judge Reinhold. Give him more to do. Judge Reinhold comes back, but he's wasted. He has a stupid job title that's useless. The JJDISOC, whatever the fuck he was. JCC SOC. I'm not even trying to be funny. I don't remember what the fuck he was called. He's given nothing to do. He's completely wasted. I forget the villain's name, but you have John Saxon, who's wasted. He's a guy. Really, anybody could have played his character. He works for the villain. Stephen McHattie, you could tell he'll be a villain. You might as well put neon lights that say villain. He's a guy at the beginning who is a good guy who stops Eddie Murphy from chasing the bad guy because he's with the FBI or the DEA or the CIA or the CDC or whatever the fuck he was with. Oh, but surprisingly enough, he's a bad guy. Anyone who's seen movies can fucking figure that out. I like Stephen McHattie. Wasted in this nothing role. Bronson Pinchot comes back for like one scene where he shows Axel and Judge Reinhold this keychain that can emit a bright light, or this Annihilator 2000 stupid fucking gun. And then, when you think about it, you look at the first two movies and the humor that sticks out. What humor sticks out in this film? Do you think about it? A fucking gun that shoots a shitty net, or pipes in Jerry Lewis music, or the fucking ending where, oh, he did a good job. Now he has a fucking animal mascot after him called Axel fucking Fox. More like Axel Fox. Axel fucked himself. Axel fucked me. Axel fucked you. Axel fucked. Oh, Axel fucks off. Because he might as well have been, because this is Axel Foley in name only. Eddie Murphy, he wanted to be fucking Passenger 57. Might as well fucking call the film Passenger 58. Or Passenger 59. Not Beverly Hills Cop 3 if you want to be so much like Wesley fucking Snipes. Dispatcher 57, which that's a film that grew on me. At first, way back in the day, I'm not sure. It grew on me. I like the film. Always Bet on Black. A lot better movie than this. But it's like Eddie Murphy goes, I want to be that guy, and I want to be this guy. I want to be like Samuel Jackson, who's coming up, and I worked with him coming to America. And sorry, Eddie, just didn't work. Piss poor writing. I give credit to some of the stuff. Well, I didn't even talk about the story. Eddie Murphy, his boss gets killed, and these bad guys are the worst fucking bad guys ever. For some reason, these bad guys shoot the chop shop bad guys, and those bad guys had these briefcases. All that's in the briefcases is a gun with a towel, and the towel in big letters say Wonderworld, which happens to be where the fuck they work at. Now let me ask you something. If you're a bad guy, you have a suitcase, all you put in is a gun in there. Why the fuck do you need a goddamn towel? So that you can wipe your ass with it after you shoot some motherfuckers? So after capping some people, oh, wipe my brow. And white towels that literally say in big letters where you're fucking at. That's like a burglar going into a home and having their address tattooed on their fucking forehead. That's like a robber going to a store, a grocery store, a 7-Eleven, a liquor store, and their name is tattooed and their address are tattooed. That's like someone trying to sneak in and they have a sign around them say, I am a robber. This is like, come on. And I should have realized because Steven D'Souza had a hand in writing this. The guy who directed Van Damme Street Fighter. Oh, he worked on Die Hard. I think other people fucking did that shit. Didn't he also work on Judge Dredd with Stallone? And some other fucking films? Maybe the good films are shit that got rewritten. Like, Steven D'Souza such rewrite the shit. And then this is the shit that he had more control on. I don't know. So Axel goes to Beverly Hills. You have this unfunny scene where he's talking to a fucking police computer, and the police computer asks him 52 questions and then starts talking in French. So Axel Foley keeps going, meets Judge Reinhold, meets Hector Elizondo. Is a hothead, he's a bad cop, doesn't use any wits, doesn't use any of his brain, doesn't use any of his quick wit. There's a moment he's on a catwalk and he's plain view of the bad guy, so of course the bad guys see him and he jumps down. And once the bad guys, you find out that the Wonder World is like a Disney World. It's an amusement park. This is supposed to be at first a die-hard amusement park. Which maybe that could work. Doesn't work in this. It doesn't work in this when you have lame villains, lead character who's joyless and by the numbers and bored, lame, tame, no edge, no attitude. It's not that funny. I'll give credit to the stuntmen. This is point where Eddie Murphy's run away. He's in the park. He cuts in front of George Lucas. Because yeah, Beverly Hills Cop 3 needed to have a shitload of director cameos. I think John Singleton has a cameo. Others. Like, I know John Landis has done that in other movies, but you don't need to do that in a fucking Beverly Hills Cop 3. I don't need to see Axel Foley cut in front of George fucking Lucas. But he's on this Ferris wheel, spider type thing. And then the bad guys are so stupid. They're fucking with controls, messing everything up. They have like 50 witnesses here, 70 witnesses there, who saw them do it. But yet they do it anyway. And it fucks everything up. And Axel Foley Yeah, the up close you tell it's a green screen, but the wide shots, you see it's a real stuntman going from one to the other. Good stunts, good practical stunt work there. I give credit. He saves these two kids. One leads to another. Blah blah blah. The finale, I'm trying to remember. Oh, there's a love interest for some reason. I did. You don't want to do the exact same thing, but this love interest is forced and barely any time on it. God, before that, how could I forget? Axel Foley's in a fucking elephant suit, elephant mascot suit, because he's undercover and he's going around the park, so he's in a fucking elephant mascot suit. And you're like, this is where you come down to, man? This silly, stupid shit? Then he talks to fucking the girl and gets more info, and at the end they have the girl and he goes in. Judge Reinhold and Hector Elizondo will follow afterwards. He gets caught, does the right thing, fights off. Judge Reinhold and the girl get trapped in this room. Eddie Murphy has that gun, fucks up 10 goddamn times. Shitty net, Jerry Lewis music, because yeah, Jerry Lewis singing. Shitty rap song. No, it's not Jerry Lewis singing a shitty rap song. That'd be another thing, but it's two different things. He finally shoots a guy, and he finally shoots a missile that blows up a thing next to another guy, so he kills two guys. Judge Reinhold finally gets out, he kills two guys. Hector Elizondo gets there just to kill one guy. Why did you even need Hector Elizondo there? And I'm sorry, I like Hector Elizondo, I liked him in certain movies, but his energy, his vibe just didn't work here. It was out of place. It didn't fit. Just didn't fit. Oh, he kills a couple bad guys with his alien attack ride, which has a fucking Cylon there. It's one of those rides that, like, there's subway, railroad type of tracks, and fire will pop in here, water will pop in here. There's one point where the bad guy has the worst aim I've ever seen in a fucking movie. Imagine. Okay. This is the guy. This is Eddie Murphy. This is the train track, the subway track. The guy shoots from about as far away as this room. And all it does is hit like every one of these tracks. Nowhere up here. From knees up. Nope. Every single bullet is like along this track. And I'm not one of those guys that complains about, oh, shitty aiming. But this one was too much. This is like the worst aim I've ever seen on a person. I don't, in any movie. The only thing worse would be if I'm right next to someone, went bang, and I still missed. Literally, Eddie Murphy standing full frame, full view. Bad guy shoots, again, as fucking distance of this room, just hits. What the fuck? Are you trying to shoot him in the shoes? Shoot him in the ankles? For some reason? Bad guys get killed. Wonderworld. They celebrate. Eddie Murphy's a hero. And they give him a new character, Axel Fox. Axel Fox yourself. Axel fucks off. Axel fucks me in the ass. And I don't like it. I literally got drained while doing this fucking video. I can't believe it. This is one of those things you just go, what? Why? Where were they coming from with this? No wonder this film was a bomb. No wonder this film was a flop. And it still got features. Not on this Blu-ray, but on that DVD, it still has features. 48 Hours doesn't have features, but Beverly Hills Cop 3 has features. Good one, Paramount. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fucking... Yeah, 48 Hours, I mean, it's only a classic film. Why does that need features? But Beverly Hills Cop 3, yeah, give that features. That piece of shit. Yeah, it's like, it's not funny, the characters are wasted. You miss John Ashton, Ronnie Cox, Harold Faltermeyer, Don Simpson, Jerry Bruckheimer, John Landis. I think he was out of his element in this. Plus, he's worked with Eddie Murphy, who is drained, who is tired, who doesn't want to be funny. He wants to play the character straight for some stupid reason. A couple decent stunt scenes. But again, the humor goes into the direction of the Annihilator 2000 BS and like physical, not even physical, but gimmicks, gags. Like the car that's falling apart while in a shootout. Or the chop shop guy singing and dancing to the camera. Like John Landis was so desperate, it's like, that's how I'm going to get laughs. By doing that. I love how this goes. Journeys back to Beverly Hills for a real roller coaster thrill ride at the Wonder World amusement park, joined by old pals Billy Rosewood and Serge. They act as if Serge goes on the job with them. Axel becomes the hottest new attraction as he chases down the bad guys on the rides, through the shows and an underground maze beneath the park. It's a wild, funny action comedy. Bill Deal ABC Radio Network. Really. Bill of ABC Radio Network. A wild, funny action comedy. What's so wild about this film? And what's so funny about this film? Wild? Wild? Bill's Top 3 is wild? It's wild that it got made. It's wild that it exists. It's wild and blows my mind that you could have had a great trilogy and you fucked up with a shitty sequel that killed it so much you don't have a Beverly Hills Cop 4. And there will never be a Beverly Hills Cop 4. Let's be honest. So I don't know what else to say. It's like I'm just repeating myself. It's has no energy, has no Eddie Murphy has no energy to it. He's bored. No edge, no attitude, terrible music, waste of characters, other characters you miss, other people you miss, the original composer and producers you miss. You miss the edge, you miss... It's rated R, but it feels rather fucking tame. Eddie pretty much plays it straight. The plot just doesn't work. You're in a Wonder World park where all these cute animals and little kids and things of that nature, while these films have had an edge to them. And now you don't put that in a world where it's family friendly and kiddie and cartoony. It just doesn't work. If you have maybe a different director, Eddie Murphy giving a shit, the people back, and the amusement park was like Adventureland, people know, Six Flags, like not so kiddie, just a regular. Like, I don't even know that, man. I always thought, why not have a flip? Judge Reinhold and John Ashton, they have to go to Detroit for one reason or another, and then Eddie Murphy shows them the ropes on his turf. So the Beverly Hills Cops are Judge and John Ashton. And again, it'd be nice to see Axel Foley on his own home turf. You know, different setting, different location. This time, Judge and John are the fish out of waters, and Eddie's going to teach them. That'd be a little bit different, but hey, what do I know? Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.